Late last month, former Bank of Canada Governor and recently appointed Bank of England Governor Mark Carney surprised many by criticizing the quality of the economic data being provided by the UK's Office for National Statistics. Measurement of investment in Britain was one source of discomfort for the former Goldman Sachs insider, who said that, "We're not putting full weight on that data, and it has to be said that it doesn't entirely feel right that investment is, as measured, falling at a time when we see continued strengthening investment intention." He added that a lot of work would have to be done to bring Britain's flow of funds data up to international standards. To be clear, what was surprising was not that the ONS data is incomplete and misleading. Everyone with an ounce of economic understanding already knew this. What is surprising is that a high-ranking bank official was admitting that the data that they and the market in general is relying on is so unreliable. But perhaps this shouldn't be surprising. Back in 2007, Li Keqiang admitted that China's GDP data is man-made and unreliable. Then head of the Communist Party in Liaoning province, Keqiang reportedly told US Ambassador Clark Randt that China's GDP numbers were for reference only. Keqiang is now the premier of China, but oddly has clammed up about the country's cooked books since taking the office. More common than blatant admissions that the data is made up are revisions to the data that take place weeks or even months after their original release. That happened earlier this week, when the Japanese government quietly revised their third-quarter GDP growth figure to 1.1%. Last month, they touted a 1.9% growth rate, widely reported at the time as a respectable figure for the perpetually moribund Japanese economy. In the end, most people only ever see politicians gloating over the latest, greatest stats as they are released. Few, if any, notice the revised figure weeks later, when it's buried in the back of the newspaper. Perhaps the most obvious example of this phenomenon in the American context is in the unemployment figures. By manipulating the criteria for being considered unemployed, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is able to keep the numbers artificially low. Shadowstats.com analyst John Williams calculates that if the government was still using the same standards it was using in 1994 to come up with their unemployment numbers today, the current unemployment rate would be over 23%. This is most clearly seen in the labor participation rate, the percentage of workers actually in the workforce, which reached 35-year lows earlier this year, even as the government's cooked unemployment number continues to drop. Keep this in mind the next time a panel of talking heads try to convince you of how wonderful the economy is, based on the latest government-supplied official statistics.
The unemployment rate went down, not because people dropped out of the labor force, but because they created a lot of jobs. It's the third or fourth month in a row that we've had better than expected.
For more news and information, please follow the RSS feeds at CorbettReport.com, subscribe to this YouTube channel, or follow us on Twitter @CorbettReport. Welcome friends, James Corbett, CorbettReport.com, coming to you from the increasingly frigid climes of Western Japan, and today I'm reporting live on the scene from the corridors of crass commercialism, aka the shopping mall. And for those of you out there wondering, yes, Japan, just like whatever country you're in back home, has these meccas of mass merchandising where people flock at this time of year to buy the useless googads and gadgets and other useless items that we have been trained to believe are the only ways of showing one's love for one's fellow friends and family at this time of year during the holiday season. So here I am right in the heart of the Christmas madness, and so I thought I'd show you some of the Christmas garbage that's for sale at the shopping malls here in Japan. It's pretty much the same as back home in Canada or wherever you might be. And that is a sad testament to the fact that the commercialization of global culture continues to spread like a cancer around the world. But there are ways of combating this, and I would like to suggest a couple of them to you today. Of course, I'm in the alternative media, and I'm in the business of trying to provide people with information that they can actually use to make informed decisions about their lives. If you value this more so than the crap that they're selling you in these shopping malls, then why not eschew these shopping malls and actually use our power to vote with our dollars for the alternative media. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Corbett Report. It could be whatever independent alternative media you choose to support. And of course, all of my material is completely 100% freely available for download. So if you want, you can download it yourself, make DVDs, send out email links, however you want to get this information out. I'm all for getting the information. Of course, if you do want to support me and the work that I'm doing, then one of the best ways to do it a win-win situation is to buy one of my DVDs, several of them for sale, of course, on CorbettReport.com. And it's a win-win situation because not only do I get your support, but you also get something out of the deal. And instead of giving someone some useless googad for Christmas, you can give them something that actually matters, some information. So why not give one of these as a gift? And let's make it a win-win-win situation. We'll add one more win to the mix. For the month of December, anyone who buys one of my data DVDs will get a free 1-year subscription to the Corbett Report subscriber newsletter. So once again, I want to thank all of you guys out there for making this alternative independent media possible. And this year, why don't we give the gift of truth rather than the gift of garbage, slave-made Chinese factory goods. And on that note, that's going to be it for me for today, but thank you so much for listening. Talk to you later.